And go. Good evening, Pat.
Good evening, Sam. How are you doing?
I am great because it's mid Basho in Osaka, aka the Vegas of Japan. I believe I've
Yeah,
people have referred it to as that
of
before.
people.
Me.
Okay, it's a good start.
Yep. So it's gonna be a good time in Osaka. It's always fun there.
Always.
Always. So yeah, fun. It's day 9 wrapped up. Um, and not quite what people were expecting for the leaderboard here.
It has been a spicy Basho. Let's just put it that way,
Hmm.
folks.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride. There's been some beautiful moments, some tragic moments. I've cried, I've laughed.
Hmm.
Um, that's probably unrelated to sumo, but it's been on a personal note.
We
Oh,
don't
okay.
want
All
to talk
right.
about
Sorry.
your
Yeah.
personal
Sorry. Yeah.
problems
That's
here.
sorry.
We're
Too
here to
far.
talk about sumo.
Okay. Here's talking about sumo. Yeah. It's no. It's just been crazy. I mean, like you got obviously you got the two new guns. I mean, coming
Hmm.
in super strong, and then you kind of got like some of the big guys that have fallen down and like really
Yeah,
disappointed. It's been a very dramatic. Oh, someone's entered your room.
yeah,
Um,
it's Bolton.
I had a feeling. Oh my gosh, is his first cameo?
Yeah.
There he is. This is what's going to get the views.
Yeah.
That's what the people really want to see.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's just been, I think, more than in any time recently. There's been more like surprising moments in this ball show than in recent memory.
Yeah, and the kind of I can't look at myself because of Bolton right here.
It's fine.
Um,
Like he's not there.
yeah, and like the two leaders are Takeru Fuji 9-0.
Yep,
You call him Trappy Fuji because
I
of
do.
his massive trap muscles. I believe that is what gives him the power to drive everyone back.
We'll get to the
Behind him,
traps later.
behind him, Onosato at 8-1, and but then is when we get into the rest of
Yeah.
people who are heavily favored. I mean, Takakeisho Katona Waka sitting at 7-2.
Yep.
After that, Hoshoyu at 6-3. And I mean, even then though, I think already named who the winner is going to be. I don't mean like I know who the winner is going to be, but I don't see anyone who's 6-3 winning this. I don't see the Yusho winner going or going 12-3. Excuse me. So my pseudo prediction right now is either Takakeisho or Katona Waka is going to be who takes it.
It's really interesting too. I agree. I think one of them. There's a couple interesting stories. I know we're going to talk about our picks, but I have to quickly talk about Taki Show. I just
Hmm.
want to do quickly talk about the Ozekis. To be honest, yeah, Taki Show, who
Yeah.
was injured, has been had a long, recent injury
Neck
issues,
injury.
neck injuries, very serious, and has just been coming out looking real strong. And it's funny, you
Yeah.
watch him fight, he's not that fast. He but he just drives, and he's just like when he's on and when
Hmm.
he's pushing and when he's like not in exceeding amounts of pain, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
he just can do really well, and he's just been absolutely
Yeah.
crushing it. And then on the other hand, you got Kirishima, and it's like, man, this guy just had a horrible start so far.
Yeah.
Going into day 9, after day 9, he's 3-6 right now. And just this guy who's been on top of it for a while and had a really good record is just can't catch a break.
Yeah, and then Katona Waka also 7-2,
Hmm.
and then like I said, Hoshoyi 6-3. Yeah, and a couple of podcasts ago, we said we were looking forward to this Ozeki class being strong all year
Hmm.
because really, I mean, they've all been consistently good,
Yeah.
if not, especially like Katona Waka, who's only been getting better over the last year, and Kirishima was really very solid. So for him to kind of come out and struggle,
Yep.
he won today, so he did one today, so he
He
was two
did.
and six before today. Like, just kind of crazy to see. It's too much time
Yeah.
with the Ozeki fish.
I mean, you got these four
So,
Ozekis too, who are all in their own way in line for a potential Yokozuna run at this point. And so it's
mhm.
just interesting to now see. I mean, like this division kind of begin. I mean, when you're doing 3-6, like you're out of that running. at least for the
Yeah.
present time. So
Oh yeah.
it's really interesting to see that kind of go down.
Even Hoshoyu at 6-3, like a 12-3 Yusho isn't really a good start
Not
um, for
incredible,
uh,
but
for a Yokozuna run unless you were to go 15-0 or 14-1 next Basho, which, as we've seen so far, Hoshoyu is still not past like losing those little bouts that he
yeah,
should win. You know,
it's so true.
getting upset by Ura in the beginning or
Yep.
like right at the start of the Basho. I mean, not to take away from Ura, but like
No, it's definitely an upset.
he, but Hoshoyu had a commanding record against
Yeah.
Ura, and yeah, and I mean Ura's done very done he's 4-5 right now, but that's not quite the full story considering some
Mm.
of the people he has beaten.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we can if we can get into it and talk
you
about
know
our
we
picks.
and what before we do that, just I mean today Hoshoyu up against Midori Fujin. I was
Oh yeah.
watching and it said their head-to-head record was 6-6, which
Whoa.
you wouldn't really expect.
No, you wouldn't. I
And
would never
then
have guessed that actually.
yeah, Midori Fuji twisted and pulled him down, and you could see Hoshoe immediately pop back up and was grinning, like
I've never
as he
seen him
said,
react like
as
that. You'll have to
as
put
if
the
he was
picture
like,
up, obviously. That
yeah,
was
he was basically saying like, I can't believe he's like, I got,
he got
like
got.
that's
He got.
however you say I got in Japanese, that's what
So desu.
Hoshoyu was probably thinking. So
Yeah, and
yeah, to get go ahead.
well, I think the only other honorable mention that we have to say really quick before we get into the Basho or our picks is that we'd have to mention Abi, who just
Hmm.
has been semi inconsistent. He's always good,
Hmm.
but like hasn't really had I would say like a breakout run in a while,
Hmm.
and he's just come out so strong and has just
Yeah,
been doing so awesome. And I just think it's really cool to see him. I would love to see him finish with like a really strong record. I hope he doesn't kind of
yeah.
take a turn in the back end, but will
Yeah,
remains to be
so, I
seen.
mean, he's sitting 6-3. He's good. He's doing well. I mean, it was a good. He was a good test for Takeru Fuji, who,
Yeah,
I mean, Takeru Fuji just blasted him out, and Abi is not a small, weak
yeah,
guy.
he
Like
did.
so I guess we can use that segue to talk about our fantasy picks. And my top performer is Takeru Fuji, so I'm quite happy
Yeah, it
for
turns
that.
out you bet on the right horse there, my friend.
I was debating between him and Kitana Waka, and Kitana Waka is sitting at 1-8. So I'm happy I made the
That was
Takeru Fuji
turns
pick.
out that was the
Um,
correct pick.
yeah, then the rest. So the rest of my team, the other top performer, Hoshoyu, 6-3,
Solid.
and then both I have Daisho and Tamawashi. Both of them right now have losing records. Daisho
Yeah,
is still 4-5, so he can definitely bounce back from
in
that. And then
contention.
Tamawashi 3-6. That's less likely. I mean, he can only lose one more bout before
Yeah.
he's not getting me any points. So that's that might be a bit of a wash pick, but I'm putting all my hopes into Takeru Fuji and
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm really looking forward to like seeing Takara Fuji fight all the top guys, especially now he will because his record is so strong. But he
Mhm.
just went up against Abi today, which was probably his highest rank. I think it was his highest rank fight yet.
Tomorrow he's going to be fighting on Osato. So the JSA is saying to either eliminate one, hopefully, I mean, in their minds, maybe hopefully both the young guys making them take a loss to make it more of a catch, make him more catchable. But
Oof.
I mean, if Takeru Fuji wins it, that's only going to cement his lead. It's going to be even tougher. They're going to have to just start throwing him at all the Sanyaku for the last 4 day, last
Pretty
3 days.
much. I think
Yeah.
I think the big story here though is that Takara Fuji, also known as Trappy Fuji, because of his unbelievable traps and physique in general. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but he might be taking the title for best traps from Wakamoto Haru. I know. Okay, hold on. I don't want to speak too soon.
Oh, I mean,
I don't want to speak
no,
too soon. I don't want to say he's
it's a
taking it.
fair, it's
I
a
don't want to say he's taking it
well,
yet, but I think
or Wakataka Kage.
that's true.
We can have a discussion of the best traps.
But Wakamoto Haru in my book has had the best traps in the game,
Oh,
and
they're
now
solid.
all of a sudden, this guy. I mean, you could rest a mug on those traps. I mean,
Yeah,
it's insane.
his traps connect at the tachiai before his hands and face do. So they're out there.
uh,
Yeah, so he faces Onosato tomorrow.
you're looking
And
forward to
if
that.
he, yeah, definitely. I mean, in some ways, I'm not because I want both the young guns to do well. So I'd
I know.
rather them pair them against all against a Sanyaku first, but I get why they're doing it. They want
Yeah,
them to try to eliminate each other before the Sanyaku.
makes sense, I guess, but it'll be an
Yeah, and
interesting
then
day.
your team,
So for me,
you've got
we got Kotonowaka, who, as we know,
who's
seven and
doing
two. He's
well.
doing really. I mean, he just is just so. He's just looking so strong, and he's one of those guys that to
Yeah.
me just always looks so composed out there. Like he never really like panics, and he. I mean, he doesn't always win, but he looks really strong. So he has a really good
Hmm.
chance of obviously winning the whole thing potentially. Um, Next, I got Ura. Came out so strong, and we talked about him. I
Hmm.
think in our last podcast about how he had kind of struggled with going up to his higher rank, and kind of all of a sudden having faced all the big guys, and then he just came out and beat a bunch of them and did really well, and it was just really cool to see him. He always does something crazy. I mean, the crowd has been going wild because obviously he's an Osaka boy. So like,
Yeah,
I feel like he's really brought the heat in terms of like the show.
I
His
think he tried to pull the what's
Oh
his
yeah, he
now.
did.
He tried. I think he tried to pull it against Wakamoto Haru, but he wasn't having
He
it.
did, but it was still a spectacular finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's 4 and 5. I think he can hopefully pull it around and come with a
Hmm.
winning record, but we'll see. And then you got Atami Fuji. Same boat, 4 and 5 currently going into day 10, and he's just been looking a little inconsistent. I mean, but it's like again, it's like you watch these guys fight, you watch someone like him, and it's like so easy to kind of judge, but then you remember that he's 23 or 22 or whatever,
Right.
and he's like what? This is his third, fourth top ranked
Hmm.
Basho, third, I think. And so it's like
Hmm.
he has so much time to grow. So I think it's kind of easy to watch him and be like, oh, he's kind of screwing up. But then I kind of remind myself like he's a kid and he has a lot of sumo
Yeah.
in front of him. So I think all things considered, I think like he had this meteoric rise to fame and then kind of like leveled down. I think he's kind of in his like early kind of like mid phase. And with training, he'll even get better, hopefully.
Yeah. He's settling a bit. I mean, he's I think the best is yet to come with him.
I agree.
So.
I agree. And
Hmm.
then rounding it out, my wild card pick Shodai, who is also
Hmm.
4 and 5 going
Yeah.
to day 10. And again, like he's been doing pretty well. Like definitely better than last Basho. Looking pretty strong. He still has some big fights in front of him, but I'm also I'm pretty confident. I mean, it's a big
Hmm.
4 and 5 field right now. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm banking on a late Shodai push here.
Well, let's see who we've got. Who's going tomorrow? So, Katona walk against Oho. So
Mm.
ideally, Katona Walker should win that.
That he should.
Uh, you've got Tom Wash against or we'll go with yours.
Huh.
Let's see, Tommy Fuji. Who's he? I just saw him. I thought against Takanosho. So again, Takanosho sitting 3-6. So
Interesting. Yep, should have it.
Tom Fuji should. Shodai going against Roga, who's 5-4. That'll be a tough one for
That
him.
will be a tough
Roga's
one.
and then Ura
Oh
is
God, give it to me softly.
Nishikigi, who's 1-8.
Oh,
So
okay. Well,
yeah.
that's the thing about Ura. He's such a damn wild card that you just never know. But that should be
Hmm.
an easy win.
Hoshoyu's got Wakamoto Haru, so that's going to be a tough
Oh,
one.
that's gonna be a good fight. I feel like I always
Yeah.
like watching them fight. They're like so evenly matched. They're both like
Hmm.
younger and leaner and fit dudes, and I think that's gonna be sick.
Then Tamawashi's got Chura Naomi, so that'll be a
Okay.
tough one for him.
Indeed.
Takaru Fuji has Onosato, which I've already talked about,
That's gonna be the
and
match of the whole
then
Basho right there.
uh, Daieisho against Takakeisho. So that's going to be that's a big
Woo!
one as well. If Daieisho can pull that off,
That'll be something.
that'll have big impacts for the top of the field. Because I mean, Shona Naumi's sitting at 7-2 as
Yeah,
well. But at M12, you expect him to start losing to the higher ranks, and he's already lost a couple.
right.
But I mean, if Takakeisho gets taken out of the running, it's really only going to be up to Katona Waka to try to unseat one of these young guns
I know, and
in terms of winning it.
I am not confident with Takakeisho finishing this boss show. I mean, again, he's been looking strong and he's been looking good, but it's just like all it takes is like I just feel like it's like he's just like walking on eggshells when I watch him fight, and all it's going to take
Yeah,
is one twist and one something, and there's some wrestlers you look at you don't think that way, but some of them you look at that and you're just like like
Yeah.
he's right on the edge.
Yeah. You said some. You looked at some wrestlers you see they don't look that way.
Yeah,
Teruno Fuji is one of those who always looks terrifying and intimidating. But I mean, he
yeah,
lost 3 or 4, and now he's out.
yeah.
Number of other injuries. Teruno Fuji, or I already said Teruno Fuji. Sorry, Tsurugisho,
Hmm.
unfortunately, is out. Who had a good start.
I know, and that was a brutal injury too.
Mhm.
I think he's in trouble.
Shimazumi is out. Kim Bozon is out, but he came
Came
back.
back.
He sprained his neck, which just sounds like a very painful injury.
Yeah,
And to come back from that, I mean, that's
he's
crazy.
a
So
badass. Yeah, and I think I got to give my final shout out too here to Hakoto Fuji, also coming back from an injury, having a
mhm.
really rough start. I mean, he's at 2-7. It's not great, but even still, like he came out, had a good fight today, won today, and I always like to see that. But a little side note too for Tenoro Fuji, I was like reading something about him, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like he's out with an injury." It was like his injury in the like waist, knees, and it was like no, it was like hips, waist, and knees, and like ankles, and I'm like, oh, only the really important parts.
only
Yeah, I was like,
you can just walk those off.
yeah. So I mean, we talked about it last time, but I think he's
Yeah,
approaching that time, perhaps.
we'll see. I mean, it's kind of his jam to win a Yusho, sit out for 1 or 2, come back and win it.
It
So we'll
is. It
see.
is the thing.
Maybe he'll come back and win in May or July. But
Who knows?
all right, um, all right, man. Yeah, unless you got anything else,
I think
that's all.
that'll do it.
Thought we
Keeping
would
this one
talk about.
short.
And then Wakataka Kage is tied for the lead in Jurio,
Oh
um,
baby.
with who was it with with Asakoryu. They're both sitting at 8-1, so it's close down there too.
That's exciting. I really hope to see him
And,
back in the future. I think everyone wants to see him back. So, all
yeah, yeah. Let's see if he can keep it up and bounce on up.
right. Well, we
But
will be back at the end of the tournament with a debrief on everything that went down.
yes, we will, and we'll see who won fantasy for the double or nothing
Oh my
prize.
God, I forgot. Pressure's on.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. Have a good night, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, bye.
Bye.